I have a friend whose son was born with slight autism. The parents didn't notice it immediately when the boy was still a baby, but as the boy was growing up, they began to notice little behaviors that were a bit different from how other children behaved. Those differences became much more pronounced as the boy grew up. He had difficulty getting along with people. He displayed repetitive behaviors. And he had difficulty with speech and non-verbal communication. Now, I admire how this boy's parents handled this condition. They fully embraced the boy's nature, and they adjusted their lives to provide the best possible environment for this child to grow up to his full potential. Now, the boy is already in his teenage years, and if you meet him for the first time, you would not be able to tell that this boy has autism. The condition of other children that we know of are a bit more challenging. Some children were born blind or deaf, or with congenital heart disorder, or with seriously disabled limbs, or even disfigured faces. One of the hardest things to accept in life is the suffering of children, because it is not only the children who suffer, but the people who love these children suffer as well. First of all, they have to deal with the cost, not only financially, but also emotionally and relationally. And I would not be surprised if the parents of these children would, at some point, ask God, why? Why would a good God allow innocent children to suffer difficult conditions or serious disabilities? Did God make a mistake? That is a painful question. But I think it is a fair question to ask. There were people in the Bible who asked practically the same question to Jesus. And the answer that Jesus gave them was quite surprising. We find this in the Gospel according to John. As he passed by, he saw a man blind from birth. And his disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" Jesus answered, "It was not that this man sinned or his parents, but that the works of God might be displayed in him." A man was born blind. He was blind and he was desperately poor and trying to survive as a beggar. Life had been very hard for this man. And the disciples asked that difficult question that I believe people with disabilities would not even say out loud. Who sinned? This man or his parents that he was born blind? Ibig sabihin, sino bang dapat sisihin sa pagkabulag na lalaking to? Yung lalaki ba mismo may kasalanan? O yung mga magulang niyang may kasalanan? At kung hindi naman kasalanan ng lalaki o kanyang mga magulang, ang ibig sabihin ba nito, Diyos ang may kasalanan at siya ang dapat sisihin? The explanation for this blindness was not to be found by looking for its cause, but by looking for its purpose. Jesus was telling them not to look for who's at fault in a person's disability. Rather, people should be looking at the purposes of God. There are many things in life which we struggle to find explanations for. The explanations for these things lies not in the past causes, but in the future purposes of God. God never makes mistakes. God's power and might, His grace and mercy, His beauty and majesty, these are displayed when people who are differently able allow God to use them and their disability for God's glory to be displayed. After all, their conditions are temporary. When the Lord finally returns to establish His kingdom on earth, and when the new heaven and the new earth has finally come, Those who have disabilities today will finally enjoy their perfectly whole, perfectly glorified bodies forever and ever. God will make everything right in the end. As we begin to see the glorious purpose of God, even in the lives of people who have disabilities, let us keep in mind, faith matters too.